Take a deep breath, and let's hear a story about Sophia, who found true happiness only after losing everything she owned in a fire. Sophia Morgan stood at the expansive windows of her penthouse apartment, gazing at the city lights twinkling like earthbound stars beneath the velvet evening sky. Her fingertips traced the cool marble countertop of her designer kitchen as she inhaled the subtle scent of lavender from the fresh bouquet delivered that morning. The gentle hum of the climate control system created a soothing white noise backdrop to her thoughts as she contemplated her latest architectural achievement. In her walk-in closet, tailored suits and designer dresses hung in perfect color coordination, while her collection of handcrafted Italian shoes rested on illuminated shelves like museum artifacts. The smooth leather of her favorite briefcase felt familiar under her touch as she packed her laptop and the blueprints for her award-winning, sustainable high-rise design. Sophia's apartment walls were adorned with certificates of recognition and magazine, features that chronicled her meteoric rise in the architectural world. Each morning followed the same satisfying rhythm, awaking to silken sheets, the rich aroma of freshly ground coffee from her programmable machine, and the soft glow of sunrise filtering through custom blinds. Her smartphone would illuminate with notifications of congratulations and meeting requests from clients impressed by her innovative designs and meticulous attention to detail. The gentle weight of her rose gold watch on her wrist served as a constant reminder of time, her most precious and controlled commodity. Beyond her apartment windows lay the vibrant cityscape she had helped shape, her signature buildings standing tall among the urban skyline like proud monuments to her success. The smooth glass surfaces of her bathroom reflected a woman who had everything figured out: impeccable appearance, enviable career trajectory, and a social calendar filled with exclusive gatherings. Her refrigerator housed perfectly portioned gourmet meals prepared by her personal chef, each container labeled with nutritional information and consumption dates. Downtown, her corner office featured floor-to-ceiling windows that bathed her drafting table in natural light as she sketched revolutionary designs with practiced precision. Colleagues approached her desk with respectful admiration, seeking her input on challenging projects and innovative solutions to architectural dilemmas. The pleasant weight of her design awards lined her office shelves, catching the afternoon light and casting golden reflections across her meticulously organized workspace. At 32, Sophia had achieved more than most architects accomplish in a lifetime. Her name was synonymous with cutting-edge, sustainable design and urban renewal projects. Her calendar was filled months in advance with speaking, engagements at prestigious universities and international design conferences where she shared her visionary approaches. The leather-bound portfolio she carried contained sketches of future projects that would further cement her reputation as one of the most forward-thinking architects of her generation. Evenings often found her entertaining clients and investors in her immaculate apartment, where the soft lighting highlighted her collection of contemporary art and handcrafted furniture from around the world. The crystal glasses clinked pleasantly as she discussed upcoming projects, her confident voice carrying across the room with practiced authority and charm. Her guests would admire the panoramic city views from her terrace, unaware that Sophia sometimes stood there alone late at night, feeling strangely empty despite her surrounding abundance. Each night before sleep claimed her, Sophia would review her accomplishments and set new goals, surrounded by luxury items that represented her success story. The expensive scent of her bedside candle would fill the room as she scrolled through design magazines featuring her latest work, taking note of industry praise and competitors' attempts to replicate her innovative approaches. The silky fabric of her pajamas whispered against her skin as she settled into bed, her mind already racing toward tomorrow's conquests. Friends envied her seemingly perfect life, her carefully curated social media, showing highlights of gallery openings, charity galas, and design award ceremonies. The gentle ping of notifications provided a constant stream of validation as comments and likes accumulated under photos of her latest architectural marvels. Her refrigerator door held invitation cards to exclusive events where she networked effortlessly, building connections that furthered her professional aspirations. Though surrounded by beauty and achievement, Sophia rarely paused to truly experience the sensations around her. The warmth of morning sunlight on her face, the refreshing coolness of raindrops during spring showers, or the comforting weight of her cashmere throw blanket. Her mind was perpetually racing forward to the next project, the next achievement, the next material acquisition that would prove her worth to the world. The gentle ticking of her designer wall clock counted seconds she never fully inhabited, always planning for a future moment of satisfaction that somehow never quite arrived. Those who knew Sophia casually saw only her polished exterior, confident, successful, and enviably put together in every aspect of life. Few noticed how her gaze sometimes drifted to families in the park below her building, watching their simple interactions with a curious longing she couldn't quite name. The soft leather of her living room sofa often remained untouched for days as she worked late into the night, perfecting designs and responding to emails that couldn't wait until morning. In rare moments of quiet reflection, usually in the ethereal hours before dawn when sleep eluded her, Sophia would sometimes wonder if something essential was missing from her carefully constructed life. The gentle rustling of curtains in the air-conditioned breeze would accompany these fleeting thoughts before they were quickly dismissed in favor of reviewing her upcoming presentations. Her fingers would absently trace the smooth surface of her phone as she checked the time, calculating how many productive hours remained before her next meeting. Little did Sophia know that fate was about to dramatically intervene in her meticulously planned existence, forcing her to confront questions she had been too busy to acknowledge. The delicate balance of her perfect world was more fragile than the crystal glassware that lined her kitchen shelves, waiting for a catalyst to shatter the illusion of control she had so carefully maintained. The soft hum of her apartment building continued through the night, a countdown to a transformation that would begin with losing everything she thought defined her worth. The acrid smell of smoke penetrated Sophia's consciousness before the blaring alarm fully woke her from deep sleep on that fateful Tuesday morning. Her silk pillowcase felt unusually warm against her cheek as disorientation gave way to the terrible realization that the orange glow visible through her bedroom door wasn't sunrise. The crackling sound of flames devouring wooden furniture created a horrifying symphony as she scrambled from bed, heart pounding against her ribs with primal fear. Firefighters later explained that an electrical fault in the apartment below had triggered the blaze that quickly engulfed her building despite modern safety systems. The rough texture of the shock blanket draped around her shoulders contrasted sharply with the luxurious fabrics she was accustomed to as Sophia watched flames consume her penthouse from the safety of the street below. Kind neighbors offered her water in paper cups that felt flimsy in her trembling hands, while emergency vehicles cast oscillating red and blue lights across the gathering crowd of displaced residents. Morning sunlight eventually broke through the smoke-filled sky, illuminating the devastating reality. Everything Sophia owned was gone, transformed into ash and debris by the relentless flames. The business card of a Red Cross volunteer felt incongruously crisp between her fingers as she absently registered information about emergency housing and assistance programs. The gentle hand of a paramedic guiding her to a makeshift evaluation area seemed to be the only thing keeping her tethered to reality as shock threatened to overwhelm her system. That night, the unfamiliar springs of a hotel bed donated by a local emergency program pressed against Sophia's back as she stared at the water-stained ceiling, unable to process the day's events. The borrowed cotton pajamas felt rough against her skin, accustomed to higher thread counts, while the distant sounds of traffic and other guests created an unsettling background to her tumultuous thoughts. Her fingers instinctively reached for her phone to check emails before remembering it had been lost in the fire, along with her laptop, designs, and every material possession she had accumulated. Days passed in a disorienting blur as Sophia navigated the complex maze of insurance claims, temporary housing applications, and the overwhelming task of rebuilding a life from scratch. The plastic chair in the insurance office felt uncomfortable as she listed item after item from memory, each possession carrying a price tag that had once seemed important, but now felt strangely meaningless. The sympathetic nods of the claims adjuster did little to comfort her as the magnitude of her material loss stretched before her like an insurmountable mountain. Two weeks after the fire, Sophia found herself standing in a small furnished studio apartment provided through her renter's insurance, a far cry from her luxury penthouse. The simple cotton bedspread felt foreign under her touch as she sat on the edge of the bed, surrounded by donated clothes and basic necessities that bore no resemblance to her carefully curated wardrobe. The unfamiliar scent of the generic soap in the bathroom triggered an unexpected wave of grief for the expensive products that had once lined her marble countertops. Her first day back at work brought the uncomfortable weight of colleagues' pitying glances and well-intentioned questions that Sophia couldn't quite answer without her voice breaking. The borrowed laptop felt strange beneath her fingers as she attempted to recreate designs from memory, her usual confidence replaced by a disorienting sense of vulnerability. The sympathetic squeeze of her assistant's hand on her shoulder nearly undid her carefully maintained composure as the reality of starting over truly sank in. That evening, sitting on the unfamiliar couch in her temporary home, Sophia found herself staring at the few family photos her mother had been able to email, digital copies of memories she had taken for granted. The gentle weight of unexpected tears rolled down her cheeks as she realized these intangible connections had survived, while everything she had worked so hard to acquire had vanished in a single night. The distant sound of children playing in a nearby park drifted through her open window, a simple joy she had rarely noticed from her former high-rise perspective. Weeks turned into months as Sophia slowly adjusted to a simpler life, surprised by how little she truly needed to function compared to what she had accumulated. The comforting aroma of home-cooked pasta filled her small kitchen as she prepared dinner for herself instead of relying on prepared meals, finding unexpected satisfaction in the process. The warm wooden spoon in her hand connected her to memories of cooking with her grandmother years ago, before success and status had consumed her attention. A chance encounter at a local coffee shop introduced Sophia to Elena, an art therapist who worked with trauma survivors and recognized the signs of someone rebuilding their life. The soothing scent of herbal tea filled the space between them as Elena gently suggested Sophia attend one of her community workshops for those who had experienced significant loss. The warmth in Elena's eyes offered something Sophia had been missing, genuine connection without the filter of professional achievement or material success. In Elena's sunlit studio, surrounded by people from all walks of life who had lost homes to various disasters, Sophia felt the uncomfortable vulnerability of being seen without her carefully constructed facade. The smooth clay beneath her fingers became a therapeutic medium as Elena guided the group through creating simple vessels, explaining how the process mirrored rebuilding a life after loss. The gentle murmur of shared stories filled the room with a strange comfort as Sophia realized she wasn't alone in her struggle to redefine herself beyond her possessions. As autumn leaves painted the city in warm hues of amber and crimson, Sophia found herself walking through neighborhoods she had previously only driven past, noticing architectural details with fresh appreciation. The rough texture of stone buildings weathered by decades of seasons told stories her modern glass towers never could, whispering lessons about endurance and transformation. Her sketchbook, a simple one purchased from a local art store, filled with observations of how ordinary people created meaningful spaces with limited resources. Through Elena's group, Sophia met Marcus, a former investment banker who had lost everything in a market crash before discovering his passion for urban gardening. The earthy scent of freshly turned soil filled her senses as he showed her the community garden he had helped establish, explaining how growing food connected people to essential rhythms often forgotten in modern life. The weight of a ripe tomato placed in her palm, warm from the sun and bursting with color, reminded Sophia of pleasures that couldn't be purchased or accumulated. One year after the fire, Sophia stood in the light-filled living room of her new home, a modest apartment in a converted industrial building that bore little resemblance to her former penthouse. Sunlight filtered through large windows, casting gentle patterns across walls adorned not with awards and recognitions, but with artwork created by friends from Elena's group and photographs capturing moments of genuine connection. The comfortable weight of a handmade quilt draped across her simple sofa told the story of community rather than status. Her architectural practice had transformed as profoundly as her living space, with Sophia now focusing on affordable, sustainable housing projects for communities affected by natural disasters. The satisfying texture of recycled materials beneath her fingertips inspired innovative designs that prioritized human experience over impressive aesthetics. The grateful smiles of families receiving keys to homes they could actually afford provided a fulfillment her previous accolades never had, warming something essential within her that had been dormant for too long. Elena had become a dear friend, their weekly walks through city parks becoming a cherished ritual that nourished Sophia's growing appreciation for seasonal changes and natural beauty. The crisp sound of autumn leaves beneath their feet created a comforting percussion as they discussed the philosophy of impermanence and the freedom found in releasing attachment to possessions. The gentle weight of Elena's wisdom had helped transform Sophia's devastating loss into an unexpected gateway to a more authentic life. Evenings now found Sophia hosting small gatherings around her second-hand dining table, where the delicious aromas of shared meals mingled with laughter and honest conversation. The pleasant weight of Marcus's hand in hers beneath the table reminded her that vulnerability had opened doors to intimacy she had previously kept firmly closed. The soft clink of mismatched glasses raised in toast to simple joys created a music more beautiful than any perfectly coordinated dinner party from her past. The community garden had become Sophia's weekend sanctuary, where the rhythmic task of tending growing things connected her to cycles larger than quarterly reviews or project deadlines. The earthy scent of garden soil beneath her nails was a badge of honor rather than something to be scrubbed away, representing participation in creating nourishment rather than just consuming it. The satisfying weight of a harvest basket filled with vegetables grown by her own hands brought a pride entirely different from professional accomplishments. Sophia's new architectural portfolio featured designs that prioritized community spaces, natural light, and connections to nature over impressive height or cutting-edge materials. The texture of pencil and paper had largely replaced digital modeling in her creative process, allowing her to feel more physically connected to the spaces she envisioned. The appreciative comments from clients focused not on prestige, but on how her designs fostered human connection and everyday, well-being metrics she had previously overlooked. On cool evenings, the gentle weight of Marcus's arm around her shoulders as they watched sunsets from her small balcony reminded Sophia that true security came from relationships rather than possessions. The comforting rhythm of his heartbeat beneath her ear when they embraced spoke of a foundation more resilient than any building she had designed. The soft blanket they shared against the evening chill represented a warmth that no luxury heating system could provide. Each night before sleep, Sophia now practiced a ritual of gratitude, acknowledging the simple blessings that had always been present but overshadowed by achievement-seeking. The soothing scent of lavender essential oil diffused through her bedroom as she mentally listed connections, experiences, and moments that fire could never destroy. The gentle weight of her journal as she recorded these reflections anchored her to a life defined by meaning rather than acquisition. Mornings began with the pleasant warmth of sunlight through curtains she opened deliberately, taking time to feel the day's first light on her face before moving forward with purpose. The rich aroma of coffee brewed mindfully in a simple pot replaced the programmable precision of her former machine, reminding her to stay present rather than racing toward the next accomplishment. The smooth ceramic mug warming her palms became a moment of meditation rather than a caffeine delivery system to fuel endless productivity. When her insurance settlement finally arrived, far smaller than the value of what she had lost, but substantial nonetheless, Sophia made a decision that would have been incomprehensible to her former self. The crisp paper of donation receipts represented her choice to fund community resilience projects, rather than rebuilding her collection of status symbols. The grateful embraces from community members whose lives were improved through these contributions filled an emotional account no luxury purchase ever could. In her redesigned professional life, Sophia began mentoring young architects from diverse backgrounds who might otherwise struggle to enter the field, finding profound satisfaction in nurturing talent rather than outshining competitors. The bright enthusiasm in her students' eyes when grasping a new concept reflected a legacy more meaningful than any skyline-altering structure. The gentle guidance she offered came from a place of genuine care rather than professional obligation or networking strategy. On the second anniversary of the fire, Sophia sat in the completed community center she had designed pro bono for the neighborhood that had welcomed her during her most vulnerable time. The comforting sound of children playing, elders sharing stories, and neighbors planting gardens filled the space with exactly the kind of wealth she now valued most. The smooth wooden bench beneath her felt solid and real as she closed her eyes in peaceful gratitude, aware that losing everything had ultimately led her to gain what truly mattered. As evening settled around her like a gentle embrace, Sophia walked home through familiar streets, greeted by name by neighbors who knew her not as an award-winning architect, but simply as herself. The soothing rhythm of her footsteps on the pavement matched her heartbeat, steady, present, and at peace with both past and future. The weight of her simple house key in her palm represented not possession, but belonging to a community that valued her presence more than her achievements.